There are hundreds of Pokemon in Pokemon Go, some being really good and others being not that good. So today, I'm going to go over the top Pokemon you need for 2024. Let's get started. Okay, so how this is going to work is I'm going to be going over the top maybe 3 to 4 Pokemon for each type in Pokemon Go, from normal to dragon to fire to whatever. I'm going to be going over all the top Pokemon for each of the type, okay? These are going to be for raid only, not PvP. This is not a list for PvP Pokemon. Some of these Pokemon on the list may be good for PvP, but this is for raid only, okay? And I'm also going to be using Game Press and getting all this information from Game Press, which is a website that a lot of people use for the top Pokemon. I'll link it down below if you want to look at it to see how certain Pokemon rank that you may use if they're not on this list and stuff like that. Also, a quick disclaimer before we start. This is being filmed on January 25th of 2024, so the beginning of the year. The new Pokemon get released, the meta may change, so this list might not be 100% accurate when you're watching it, but most likely all these Pokemon on this list will still be the top, though it could have changed due to new Pokemon, like I said, and yeah, that's basically it. So without further ado, let's get into the first type. Okay, so the first type we have is bug types, and looking at the list for the top bug types, we have Pheromosa, Mega Heracross, Mega Beedrill, Mega Pinsir again, and another Mega Beedrill. Now, it's important to mention that all these Pokemon are going to be the top Pokemon running only that moveset. So, only bug type movesets for bug type Pokemon, same with fire, water, grass, only those type movesets. So, first we have Pheromosa. Now, I'm going to say right now, bug types aren't really the most useful type to be running. We would be wanting to be running other types that aren't bug types, because other Pokemon do super effective damage to the same Pokemon that takes super effective damage from bug types. But if you're going to run any bug type, I say you run Pheromosa. Now, Mega Heracross isn't in the game, so obviously you can't run that yet. When it does come out, I say honestly run Mega Heracross or Pheromosa, because Pheromosa is a glass cannon. But other than that, you can run Mega Beedrill if you want, and Mega Pinsir is in the game. So yeah, that's basically it. But then again, don't be really running your bug types. You should be running other Pokemon. So with that, let's move on to the water types. Now we're moving on to the water types, and in the water type category, first Pokemon obviously is Primal Kyogre, with its legacy move, Origin Pulse. Now, if you don't have a Kyogre, they come out like once, twice a year. It'll be back soon, don't worry. With Origin Pulse, I don't know, but you probably have Elite TMs lying around, so you could put it on Kyogre for that. Again, in the second place, we have Primal Kyogre, which is Surf. Now we have Shadow Kyogre with Origin Pulse. Shadow Kyogre is coming out in a few days, the time I'm making this video, with this new Super Rocket Takeover event. So you will have access to Shadow Kyogre probably by the time this video is out, assuming you use Super Rocket Radar, which I recommend because Shadow Kyogre is going to be a very, very strong Pokemon. So definitely use your Super Rocket Radar on that. It's a top 3 water type overall. Well, technically top 2, because both two first are Primal Kyogre. Then we have Ash Greninja, which isn't in the game yet, but I do recommend prepping a Greninja for Ash Greninja if it does come out, assuming Ash Greninja isn't a separate Pokemon, because it could either be a form change or it could be a completely separate Pokemon. We don't know yet because it's not out. But with that, we also have another Primal Kyogre and Mega Swampert, which is also a very, very good Pokemon to be running. So for top water types, I'm going to say Primal Kyogre, Shadow Kyogre, and Mega Swampert. Ash Greninja not out yet, so I'm not counting it. So those are the water types. Let's move on to ice types. Okay, now we're in ice types, and for ice types, we have Galarian Darmanitan. Galarian Darmanitan Zen mode. Now, Zen mode Galarian Darmanitan is not out in the game, but it could be coming out soon. I don't know. I have no evidence of it when it will be coming out, but it could be coming out soon, and I recommend you prep a Galarian Darmanitan, because Galarian Darmanitan is in the game. I recommend you prep a Galarian Darmanitan for the Zen mode, just in case it's form change Pokemon. Do keep in mind it might not be. Galarian Darmanitan Zen mode could be its own separate Pokemon, but if it is following the anime, and I'm pretty sure in the video games too, the Galarian Darmanitan can transform into Zen mode. It's like a form change. But other than that, we also have Shadow Mamoswine, which is in the game and is very accessible. You can find grunts, go out and find grunts today. that have Shadow Mamoswine. It's the Ice type one. It's like it's a female. I think it says don't be frozen in your tracks, something like that. We also have Shadow Weavile, which isn't available right now, unfortunately, but is in the game. And then a Galarian Darmanitan again. Now, Galarian Darmanitan by itself is also a really good Pokemon. You can run normal Galarian Darmanitan as Ice type attacker. Again, it is also a very good Pokemon. And on the list you couldn't see it, but Baxcalibur is also a pretty good Ice type. It is somewhat available within the 10k eggs and free back spawns in the wild, but it's a little bit more rare. But Shadow Mamoswine is really accessible. Normal Mamoswine is also in the game and is really accessible. So really, I just say run your Mamoswines and get ready with a Galarian Darmanitan just in case. Wait, before we continue with the video, I'm just gonna ask for 5 seconds of your time for you maybe to, subscribe, hit the like button. It really helps me out, especially as a small YouTuber. I upload once a month, so subscribe if you want. I'd appreciate it. You don't have to. Like if you want to. It really helps out, especially small YouTubers. And also, if you want to, comment down below which Pokemon in this list you like running the most. Out of all these Pokemon, which one do you run the most? Which one do you like the most? And with that, let's move on to the list. Okay, now moving on to the Psychic type Pokemon. And if you couldn't already guess and you don't already know, there's really one clear winner for Psychic types, and that's Mewtwo, as you can see on screen. Mewtwo takes up literally the top 5 spots. It probably even goes down more. I don't remember what the list was, but on top we have Mega Mewtwo Y with Side Strike, its legacy move. Confusion though, being the quick attack. We have Mega Mewtwo X again with Confusion, Side Strike, and then Shadow Mewtwo right below that. Mega Mewtwo obviously isn't out in the game, but you can prep a normal Mewtwo for when Mega Mewtwo comes out. And then we have Shadow Mewtwo down there. Shadow Mewtwo is in the game, and it had a raid day. I'm pretty sure it's going to have a raid day coming up sometime soon again in the year 2024. So if you don't have that, you definitely get another chance to get it. But really for Psychic types, you should just be running Mewtwo. Now Mewtwo isn't normally regularly available. It's a raid exclusive Pokemon, obviously. But really all you need to be running is your Mewtwo. Now, I don't really know any other Psychic types that are good. Definitely are. But I can't they're not coming to the top of my head right now. So we'll just keep that with Mewtwo. I'll probably put some on the screen too right now. If you don't have Mewtwo, which I know a lot of people don't, especially newer players, but older veteran players definitely do have Mewtwo. So definitely be running your Mewtwo's for Psychic type counters. Alright, now up next we have the Dark types. And as you can see on screen, first Dark type, most best useful Dark type, whatever you want to call it, Mega Tyranitar. Actually no, Shadow Tyranitar, my bad. Beating out Mega Tyranitar. So if you have a Shadow Tyranitar, definitely be using that. Then we have Mega Tyranitar, Shadow Weavile, Mega Absol, Shadow Honchkrow, Mega Houndoom. All these Pokemon are in Pokemon Go. You should be able to get at least some of these Pokemon. Now I know Shadow Weavile isn't around. I don't believe Shadow Honchkrow is around. Larvitar does spawn in the wild, but it's really rare. Houndour does spawn in the wild, and Houndoom, you can just evolve to it. Houndoom also does spawn in the wild too. It's really rare to get, but does spawn in the wild. All these Pokemon are somewhat available, and most people already have these Pokemon, so make sure you're using that. And Shadow Tyranitar is the top, so if you can find a way to get Shadow Tyranitar, which you can't right now, but when it does come back, and Team Leaders or normal grunts, definitely be grinding it to get a Shadow Tyranitar. You can even get a Shadow Tyranitar too, so definitely make sure you're doing that. Make sure it has Brutal Swing and Bite too as the Dark type moveset. Now let's move on to Ghost types. So for Ghost types, again, kind of like Psychics, there's really one clear winner, and that's Gengar. Gengar, even though it's not a legendary, is it is the best Ghost type in Pokemon Go. As you can see, first 3 slots are Mega Gengar, Mega Gengar, Mega Gengar. Just with different movesets. Make sure you're taking in mind the movesets when I'm going over this Pokemon. So Mega Gengar or Lick Shadow Ball is probably your best option. Lick is a legacy move on Gengar, so you would need to Elite Fast TM it if you want to get Lick on your Gengar. I don't recommend using Elite TMs unless it's on a really good Pokemon, and the Pokemon is relevant. So just keep that in mind when you're using your Elite TMs. We also have Shadow Gengar, which is in the game. Now, please keep in mind, for both Mega Gengar and especially Shadow Gengar, both these Pokemon are Glass Cannons. What Glass Cannons are, if you don't know, a Pokemon that deal a lot of damage but go down really quickly. And especially the fact that Gengar takes super effective damage from Pokemon it does super effective damage too. Like Gengar does take super effective damage from both Ghost and Psychic type, which it can do super effective damage too. Means it's going to be going down really quickly, especially if you bring out Shadow Gengar up against a Mewtwo with Confusion. That thing's probably going to get 3 tapped, honestly, depending on the level. Then after that, we have Shadow Chandelure, which I personally think, if you're not running a Mega Gengar, is going to be your best option. Way more tankier, way more just better in this aspect of it's not going to go down quickly. But if you want to run Shadow Gengar, it obviously is higher. I do recommend running Shadow Gengar too. It's a very fun Pokemon to use. But I think you should be running your Mega Gengar and then your Shadow Chandelure. Maybe 1 or 2 Shadow Gengars, but mostly stick with the Shadow Chandelures, and obviously you can only have 1 Mega, so Mega Gengar would be that Mega for the Ghost types. Alright, now moving on to the ground types. As top, obviously not to be surprised by anything, we have Primal Groudon, obviously the best. Then we have Shadow Excadrill, Mega Garchomp, Shadow Excadrill again, Mega Primal, oh my god, Primal Groudon, and that's Shadow Excadrill a lot too. So, really, 3 Pokemon, Shadow Excadrill, Primal Groudon, and Mega Garchomp. Now, obviously you can only run 1 Mega at a time, so you can only run 1 Primal Groudon or 1 Mega Garchomp. But you can run multiple Shadow Excadrill. Shadow Excadrill, as I'm recording this, is in the grunts right now, so you can get a Shadow Drillbur actually, and then evolve the Shadow Excadrill if you want to. Gible always comes into the game some way, one way or another. I'm pretty sure it's spawning, maybe not in the northern hemisphere, but in the southern hemisphere. So if you're down there and you're watching, you could definitely grab a Gible in the wild, I think. I'm not 100% sure. Groudon, just like Kyogre, comes to raids maybe once or twice a year, so it'll come back. Now, the Groudon won't have Precipice Blades on it. That's something you have to Elite TM. It could, but it most likely won't. So you have to lose your Elite TM if you want a Groudon with Precipice Blade. But other than that, stick with your Primal Groudon as your Mega, and then Shadow Excadrills. You can also run the Therian form Landorus, which I believe is the one in raids right now as recording. It's also a pretty good ground type you can use. Alright, next up we have Flying types. And Flying types are definitely a great type to be using, but kind of just like the Bug type, I recommend you don't really use them because of other Pokemon that does super effective damage, do stuff that Flying does that you just don't really use your Flying types because there's better Pokemon to use. But if you do want to use your Flying types, and a really good Flying type is Mega Rayquaza. Yep, Mega Rayquaza with Dragon Descent is the best Flying type in the game. And then obviously normal Rayquaza right behind it. Again, with Dragon Descent, it's just a really good Pokemon to run. We also have Shadow Staraptor, which I don't believe is in grunts anymore, but that's the 3rd best Flying type, which is pretty surprising. I have a 98 one of those. Now looking at this, I might want to power that up. We also have Shadow Moltres, Shadow Honchkrow, and again Mega Rayquaza. Now, keep in mind, Dragon Descent is an exclusive move that you need to use a Meteorite on Rayquaza to get. Now, if you're a new player to this game and you didn't play Go Fest 2023, you probably don't have a Meteorite. You probably won't get a Meteorite till I don't even know when. But if you do have Meteorites, make sure you're only using them on good Rayquaza, please. If you only have 1 or 2 Meteorites, make sure you're only really using them on your good Rayquaza. Really only 98 or Hundos, I recommend. But if you have 4 or something like that, you can use 1 on a shiny just to get the shiny Mega. But if you only have a little bit, please really make sure you're using your Meteorites on only good Rayquazas. They're really hard to get, and we don't even know where we can be able to get another one. So just be smart with your Meteors. Alright, next up we have Fairy types. And as you can see on the screen, Mega Gardevoir is the best Fairy type, followed by Shadow Gardevoir, Shadow Gramble, Xerneas with Geomancy, which is a legacy move, Gardevoir, normal Gardevoir, and Hatterene, which is not in the game, so we're not going to worry about that. Now, Ralts is such, you can go outside right now and probably find a Ralts in like 5-10 minutes. Ralts is somewhat rare, but it does spawn, you can get it really easily, so no excuses to not having a Mega Gardevoir. Now, again, it's something I'm literally just realizing right now. You do need Mega Energy to get these Pokemon, so you might not have that, but Shadow Gardevoir is there, and normal Gardevoir is up there too. Ralts is really available, really good, and you can get a bunch of candy for it, so no excuses to not have a good Gardevoir, or at least a Gardevoir to be running as a Fairy type. Alright, next up we have my favorite type, which is Fire type. And looking at these top Pokemon, surprisingly no legendaries up here. We have Mega Blaziken, Mega Charizard Y, Mega Blaziken again, Shadow Blaziken, really just Blaziken and Charizards. Both these Pokemon are so available in the game. Charmander spawns all the time in the wild. I don't know if Chimchar is spawning right now. Actually, no, I don't know, Torchic. I don't know if Torchic's spawning right now. I haven't seen one in a while. But Charmander spawns all the time. We've had like, what, 3-4 community days for Charmander? I'm pretty sure 3, right? So if you don't have a Charmander or a good Charizard, I mean, you're either new to the game, which is, like, I understand that, but if you don't have a Mega Charizard, a good one, you're slacking. Come on. Charmander is such available. You can go right outside right now, just like Gardevoir, and get yourself a Charmander, a bunch of Charmanders, and evolve them to Charizard. Even Charizard spawns in the wild. I've seen a few here and there. But obviously Mega Blaziken is better, and Mega Charizard Y. They're both pretty good. I don't know if there's too much of a difference for them, but either one you could be running. Now, Shadow Blaziken too. Shadow Torchic I haven't seen in a while, but you can run Shadow Blaziken. Also, other good fire types. Reshiram is a great one. I'm trying to think of budget one. You can run Charizard, not really the best. Shadow Charizard is pretty good. But yeah, really just stick with the Megas, and then Shadow Blaziken. Reshiram is also really good. So yeah, and also make sure when you make evolve Charizard, it's the Y one. It's the orange one, not the black one. Okay, so make sure you do that when you make evolve Charizard if you want the good fire type Pokemon. Alright, now moving on to steel types. Now, as you can see on screen, Shadow Metagross is the best steel type in the entire game. Shadow Metagross is a really good Pokemon. Well, probably one of the best in the entire game. Moving on to Mega Metagross, which isn't in the game yet, so don't worry about that. Shadow Excadrill, normal Metagross, and Zacian Crowned Sword form, which is not in the game. So, really we're looking at Shadow Metagross, Shadow Excadrill, and normal Metagross. Now, Beldum is pretty available too. Not, I wouldn't say as available as Charmander, but you go outside right now, grind for a little bit, find yourself a few Beldums if you want to. Shadow Metagross isn't in the game anymore. Shadow Beldum comes in and out, normally through the team leaders, Cliff. I was lucky enough to get myself a Shadow Shiny Metagross, which I do use. But yeah, make sure it has Meteor Mash, which is a legacy move. You're going to have to Elite TM that onto your Metagross. Shadow Excadrill 2, Shadow Dribbler is in the game. You can get yourself a Shadow Dribbler as recording this video, so make sure you do some of those grunts if you can. It's the ground type one. So yeah, make sure you get some of those Shadow Excadrill, Shadow Metagross 2, and even normal Metagross too. Normal Metagross is also a really good Pokemon to be running. Alright, now moving on to electric types. For electric types, we have Shadow Electivire, actually surprisingly, as the best electric type in the game. Going on to Xurkitree, Shadow Raikou, Mega Manectric, and Shadow Raikou again. All these Pokemon are in the game. Some really aren't that available, like Shadow Electivire and Xurkitree, but Mega Manectric is available in the game. Also good electric types is Zekrom, which isn't on this list. Magnezone as a Shadow is a pretty decent electric type, but yeah, that's really it. I mean, Xurkitree used to be worldwide. Now I'm pretty sure it's limited to a certain part of the world. Shadow Electivire, I don't even remember the last time I saw Shadow Electabuzz. So who knows when that's coming back. Mega Manectric though, Electrites do spawn in the wild quite a bit. I saw a few yesterday when I was out playing. So you can definitely get yourself a Electrite and a good one to evolve and then Mega Evolve into Mega Manectric. Shadow Raikou too. There's a legendary Shadow, so we're going to have to wait for that to either come to Shadow Raids or back with Giovanni, which who knows how long that would take. Now moving on to our Rock-type Pokemon. So, for the best Rock-type, we have Shadow Rampardos. Moving on to Mega Diancie, actually. Shadow Rhyperior, and then normal Rampardos. And I think that's, I don't know what that Shadow is. It's Meteor Beam, but I don't know what that Shadow would be. So, Shadow Rampardos, obviously, is the best. Again, like the Gengars, it is a glass cannon. It does a lot of damage, but it will go down pretty quickly. So just keep that in mind when you're running it. It is available in the game, so you can get a Shadow Cranidos and Evolved to Rampardos right now if you want. It does spawn in the wild, but it's really, really rare. Mega Diancie to get, you had to play Go Fest 2023. If you didn't play that, you're not getting Diancie. It'll come in special research eventually for everyone to get. But right now, you had to play Go Fest to get that, so not everyone has that. Shadow Rhyperior, Shadow Rhydon is in raids. Shadow Rhyhorn, not Rhydon. Shadow Rhyhorn is in raids. You can get yourself a Shadow Rhyperior, as well as Rampardos. Cranidos does spawn in the wild, but it's pretty rare right now. But Cranidos does come for a certain rock-type event, so you can get yourself a Cranidos during then. Also good ones, which are easy to get. Shadow Gigalith, actually I don't think Shadow Gigalith is in the game, but normal Gigalith is in the game. Pretty good rock type. Normal Rhyperior is a good rock type as well. And yeah, those are pretty good rock types. Terrakion too. Don't forget about Terrakion. Terrakion is a really good rock type, but then it's a legendary exclusive. So yeah, A little bit more difficult to get rock types, but it's probably the same with that most of the stuff I'm talking about. Alright, moving on to our grass type. This is the third to last category we're going to be going through. For grass types, Mega Sceptile, Cortana, Shadow Sceptile, and Shaman Skyform. All these Pokemon are in the game. All these Pokemon you probably have or could get access to in the future or right now. Trico does spawn around. I've seen a few Trico here and there. Mega Sceptile is the best. You do need Frenzy Plant, which is a legacy move. Just keep that in mind. But Trico does spawn. Cortana is, I think, like a southern exclusive Pokemon. Actually, no, Cortana spawns in the Americas, so you can get Cortana when it comes back in raids. I'm pretty sure it just was recently in raids, but Cortana's a good grass type. Shadow Sceptile, I don't know. Shadow Trico is in grunts right now. I don't believe it is. And Shaman Skyform, you had to play GoFest 2020, I believe, to get Shaman in the Skyform. And it needs Magical Leaf too, which is hard to get. So really just run your Mega Sceptiles, Cortanas, and Shadow Sceptiles for your grass types. Alright. Now on to dragon types, and if you couldn't guess, Mega Rayquaza is the best dragon type, taking the first 2 slots. Then Shadow Salamence, Mega Garchomp, Shadow Salamence again, and Shadow Dragonite. So Mega Rayquaza, obviously, like I said before, the flying, you need a Meteorite. I'm not going to go into that all again. Shadow Salamence isn't in the game right now. It was in the game. The Shadow Shiny, I don't believe I got the Shadow Shiny, but I do have a good one. Shadow. Mega Garchomp, like I said, with Gible and ground types, it comes around a bunch Gible, so you should be able to get that. Shadow Salamence again, and then Shadow Dragonite. Shadow Dratini is in the game as I'm recording this. I know it's leaving pretty soon, so you might not be able to get it by the time this video is out. So that's that. But normal Dragonite is also good. Dratini spawns in the wild, is really rare. But it's also in field research too, but it's really rare. But there are events that make the Dratini come out and make it really accessible to get. And it has a Community Day Classic, which we already did get. So, yeah, but Shadow Dragonite is definitely a good one. Shadow Garchomp 2 is in there. Shadow Gible is out right now in the Dragon type grunts. I'm pretty sure it's Roar. How do you like the sound of that? It's a female grunt. That's what she says when you go through the dialogue. So that would be Shadow Gible as recording this video. Also, normal Dragonite is good. I just said that. I don't know what I'm talking about. Normal Salamence is good too. And normal Rayquaza is also good too. So, those are the Dragon types. Most of the Dragon types are really hard to get in the first place. So, just keep that in mind if you're trying to hunt a good Dragon type counter. Alright, moving on to the last type, well, second to last technically speaking, typing, which is definitely not the least typing. We have fighting types. Up first, we have Mega Lucario, Mega Blaziken, Mega Heracross, Shadow Machamp, Terrakion, and Shadow Machamp again. Now, all these Pokemon, actually no, Mega Lucario and Mega Heracross aren't in the game, but all these are great Pokemon to be using when they come out. Normal Lucario is also a great fighting type you can be running. Mega Blaziken, like I talked about Blaziken with the fire types, you can probably get one right now, maybe, I don't know. Could definitely trade for Blaziken too. Mega Heracross isn't out. Shadow Machamp, Shadow Machoke isn't in raids. Shadow Grunts. But I'm pretty sure Shadow Machoke, oh my god. Shadow Machop is in Shadow Raids right now. So you can definitely get that. But that's switching up soon with the Rocket Takeover event coming soon. Terrakion too, Red exclusive Pokemon. But Machop does spawn in the wild. Pretty available in the wild. You can see a few here and there. So definitely get yourself Machamp. Machamp's good. Lucario is also good. And yeah, Braylon was also a pretty decent budget fighting type if you really want to run that. But that's really it for fighting. Now, before I end the video, I just want to say one thing about normal types, and they aren't actually completely useful. Now, obviously not going to be running a normal type Pokemon in raids because normal doesn't do super effective damage. But I will give a shout out to Chansey and Blissey as gym defenders. Really tanky Pokemon. You can put them in gyms if you're looking to grind Pokecoins. You can get that. Chansey Community Day too is coming in February, so no excuses for that. You should be able to get a good Chansey and a good Blissey to put in gyms if you're on the Pokecoin hunt. And I do want to quickly go over this too before we end the video. Just the absolute top Pokemon in Pokemon Go. As we can see, Mega Rayquaza and Mega Mewtwo. These are going to be the best of the best in Pokemon Go. Mega Rayquaza is out in the game. So Mega Rayquaza with Dragon Descent is just such a good Pokemon. You can run literally Mega Rayquaza with Dragon Descent for any raid boss as long as it doesn't take not very effective damage or no damage at all from Dragon Ascent, or flying type moves, that is. So you can run it up against really anything. Rock types, although you're going to be taking super effective damage. You can run up against ice types, again, you're going to be taking super effective damage. You can run up against psychic types like Mewtwo, really anything, as long as it's not like a steel type, for example, which takes not very effective damage from flying types. And also Mega Mewtwo Y, which also is another game, but I just want to show this to you guys, just in case you're wondering what the top Pokemon are in Pokemon Go. And with that, I've been Pokemon Mixmax. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you like. I hope you subscribe. I hope you found this useful. And I'll see you all in the next video coming out next month. So, with that, have a great day.